Grief Connection. I am so excited to connect to you today. My name is Opie, and I am holding space with Michelle Bogdasavich. Is that correct?
Very close. Bogdasavich. Yeah, you did so
Bogdasavich.
good.
I was trying so hard. You know, me with my English language is
Oh,
very challenging. So
it is a tough one. No,
and Michelle is an incredible soul. You guys, I am lit. We are going to have an incredible conversation because I see so
exciting.
many pieces in my journey with you, my friend. Michelle, how are you doing today?
I am great today. It is beautiful outside. Yeah, it's a great day. And I'm
That's
so excited to be
amazing.
talking to you. So this is
That's
awesome.
amazing. Can you
Yeah.
tell everybody what you do for work? Because they need to know.
Well, okay. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. And I've been doing that for about a year. Part of that was still finishing up my education and finishing up my practicum. And it has been the best thing I have ever done with my life by switching careers and moving into a career where I can just be sitting down with people, walking alongside people as they're going through whatever they are going through. And yeah, I am truly blessed to be doing what I'm doing. And I
Oh,
love it. I love it so much.
that is incredible. And I know your energy and your passion. Just even when we were conversing before, I was like, this is beautiful soul connection. And I was
Yes,
right. And I was so
totally
excited.
felt it. Yeah.
Yeah, we connected through my event coming up in February, an evening with Opie and Friends. I was so excited to have you as a vendor, and I can't wait to
Oh,
meet in person.
it's going to be incredible. Yes.
Oh, the energy already is just
Yeah,
incredible. So it's
it is.
you guys have to come. If you don't know, you need to know, okay?
There is so many incredible people as vendors, and then the event itself. It's going to
Oh,
be a night of incredible energy and just beautiful people.
it
So yeah,
really is. Now, it's interesting with the knowing what I know about your journey, something that I recognize in us intuitives and healers is we always have this catalytic moment in our path. And
yeah.
for me, your journey felt so similar in connection pieces. And I find this is going to be the journey of many coming forward.
Yeah.
And as teachers kind of walk a path ahead so that we can see our community, we can support our community. And girl, you are most definitely a teacher for that. Can you give
Oh,
everybody a little bit of, where you were at or who you were in that time frame that really kind of birthed you into your healing, your expansion, and your journey you walk and hold now?
oh, sure. I mean, if you'd met me 10 years ago, it would have been a completely different person. And who I was in a very unhealthy, unhappy marriage. I worked in as an accountant of all things, um, in a corporate environment. And I mean, I was so miserable, but I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
That's the
Isn't
thing. Like I look back and I'm like, oh, wow, was I miserable? I didn't know it at the time,
it
you
feels
know?
like we're so disassociated and we're
That was
just
exactly
doing what we have been taught
or
to
told.
do.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally, exactly what we should do, what we've been taught to do, sort of the right way to do life.
Yes.
And I followed that path because I didn't really know any different. I just sort of blindly went along. This is what you do. You grow up and you get married and you have kids and you get an office job and that's just your life. And I wouldn't even have called it a life. It was an existence,
Oh,
an existence. And yeah, it wasn't living. Um,
I totally get that. And that is such a beautiful way to put it because so many people don't know the experience of being enjoying and holding space with life, like really being present in the now and experiencing a
yes,
different sense of connection. Because I found in
totally.
those pieces, we look externally, there's judgment, we're connecting to
Yes,
drama, we're looking at all these different aspects, and we're trying to connect through pain because that's what we've been
yes.
taught.
that's exactly it, and that's exactly what I did. And then I would numb out,
Yeah.
you're right. I was so dissociated. I would look to anything and everything externally, um, to just not feel, to
Yeah.
not acknowledge what I was actually experiencing, because it was scary. It's
Yes.
scary when you start to have those feelings creeping in of something isn't right and something big has to change. Like that is terrifying,
And how?
terrifying.
Because we
Yeah,
don't have those pieces at that moment. We're like, it's not possible. We know the
exactly.
consequences of it. And that
Yes.
keeps us in a fear state because we don't trust that we
Yeah.
will figure it out. Does that make
That is
sense?
100% makes sense. That's exactly how I felt. I was scared. I felt trapped. I felt stuck. I was miserable. I was, bouncing through anxiety and depression, and I was numb. I mean, I
Yeah.
was barely even a human, really. And
Yeah.
on the outside, what other people saw was someone who was, confident, professional, a high performer, someone who really had her stuff together, had her shit together.
Yeah.
And on the inside, I was the total
Oh,
opposite. And the energy that it takes to carry those two realities,
polarities.
really, and to wear that mask is
It's too
heavy.
much. It's
It's
too
way, and it
much.
got to be too much.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So our marriage, I'm assuming, ends.
Yes, yes. 7 years ago, I left the marriage. And again, just such a scary leap to take as someone who was at the time approaching 40. Two young kiddos. My kids were 7 and 3 at the time. And I just could not, I got to a point where I could not do it anymore. So I left the marriage, which I think shocked the hell out of everyone around me. Because again, what other people saw was this like happy marriage, people who were together in sync, and what they didn't see was what was actually happening behind closed doors.
Mm.
And so I think like so many people around me were just like, what? Like they thought I think I was going crazy, because it was like, what do you mean? Like, aren't you like I've been together with that man for almost 20 years,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I also remind people that that can be the loneliest place to be in a partnership that is not aligned. And it's not to say
Yes.
anything's bad. Sometimes
No.
we outgrow that individual or are
Yes.
forced to disassociate from that relationship to
Yeah.
grow further, which sounds like that might have been your catalyst.
That's it. Exactly. It was exactly it. And in the sort of the 1 or 2 years, I'd say 2 years leading up to the end of that relationship, all of that knowing, like that deep knowing, started to come up more and more into my awareness, into
Mm.
my conscious, where it was just, little bits. And then it would like a little bit would come up, that would make me question what I was doing, and I would stuff it back down again because it's like, nope, that's scary. And then a little bit more would come, and a little bit more would come, until I really just couldn't ignore it anymore. But there was in that 2 year, there was so many shifts happening. It was so difficult. And so yes, I left, and that really was the very start of my journey since then. And as I say, I mean, if you'd seen me or met me before that period of time, I was a totally different person.
Mm.
So I
Girl, congrats.
thank
Congrats.
you.
I'm always the first one to celebrate when everybody else is like, "This, how are
Right?
you going to do this?" But I'm like, "This is fantastic." My
Yes,
right, my clients get so annoyed because I'm like, "This is great."
this is great. Yeah, and that's how I truly felt. And everyone, again, everyone around me. And it's so interesting because at the same time, I mean, I was relieved, but I was also grieving a lot of what I thought I
Yeah,
knew and that had shifted.
yeah,
And I mean, even when something is harmful for you, there is a sense of loss with what's ending. And whether it was healthy, unhealthy, you're with someone for 20 years. And that's a real hard thing to walk away from. But yes, there's a lot to be celebrated, but
Yeah.
there's also, it's complex, and
Oh,
that's, I
yeah.
really was struggling even through that of um, the all the different complex, almost like opposite feelings that were coming in for me at that time. It
Yeah.
was,
The
yeah,
double-edged sword. I find that you're
yeah,
grieving the life you thought you had, the life that
100%.
the identity you sacrificed, the identity that you
Yes,
created, the
yes,
connection points, the identity of the
yeah,
relationships you held with that,
exactly,
because a lot of people don't want to be around the single girl. They don't want their
exactly,
men around the single girl. They don't want
right,
to identify with the single girl, um,
yeah,
hanging out actions or whatever it is. And
right.
can I just say, us that started dating when there was no cell phones to all of a sudden jumping into selfies, dating apps. I mean, winky pics are like a handshake now.
I know, right? And I mean, I was so fortunate to have then found a partner who really and truly completes me. So I wasn't really on that wild dating
Oh,
scene
you are so
afterwards.
lucky. It was,
But
I could write a
yes,
book. I could write a book, Michelle, about these stories. I
that,
tell you, I was like an axe through that. I had no patience. And the
oh,
stories, I mean, everybody
yeah,
collected at the lunchroom every day to hear Opie's stories about what was happening next. It was just terrible. So just if you know somebody in your 30s and 40s that's single again, please just don't give them advice. Hold space with them.
just hold, I agree. Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh, because I used to like if I didn't get the phone call, I wasn't home. And now it's like you're accessible all the time.
All
So
the time. Yeah.
I just had to throw that in there because it's too
Yes,
funny.
totally is. I would
Oh
so agree.
my God. Okay, so you are healing, you are going through the
Yes.
layers. What was the
Yes.
catalyst? How did you connect to your passion?
Well, that is a bit of a long and twisty journey. So I have
Right?
to go into a little bit of it just to give you that context. But
Yeah.
so, yeah, 2018, left that marriage. That was the start of everything. And then I was really just kind of trucking along, like going through the healing, moving forward in life. Like, as I say, I had met a wonderful man who, and
Mhm.
through work, who I connected with so intensely and so deeply. And so starting out that new relationship and, the whole thing of introducing him to my kiddos and the whole blended family thing and all of that is happening. And it's going okay, I'm doing okay. Um, but kind of and kind of not at the same time because I found it was very similar even though I had shed a layer and I had done a lot of healing. There was so much that was still there that I hadn't
Yeah.
healed back yet.
Yeah.
And then 2020 comes along and COVID and the world shifts and we're working from home and just everything looks so different. And at the same time, in my career, I moved from working in with a manager who I was very familiar with. We'd worked together for a very long time. We worked super well together. It was just a really good working relationship. And went through a change at work where then I was reporting to a new manager who was unfamiliar. We did not jive.
Mm.
There was a lot of, I mean, really like misogyny coming from that person. There was just, and he reminded me a lot of my ex-husband. And so it brought so much up for me. I think that
Yeah.
even, 2 years had passed, but stuff that I hadn't really dealt with started coming
Yeah.
up again because of that.
And that is something for people to hold on to because if we don't heal these wounds, they will surface in
We can
different
never, we can't
connections.
escape them.
Yeah, you have to learn how to either shift your frequency or
Yeah.
navigate it differently. So that's
Ex
beautiful.
exactly. And so it brought a lot of that up for me to the forefront again, where it's like,
Wow.
hey, you haven't actually dealt with this. You know, you may think you have, but you haven't. So hello.
Wow, which would be so
Yeah.
triggering too in that dynamic because you
Yes.
still have to maintain professionalism. So you actually have to learn how to hone in your emotions. Does that make sense
Yeah, even
too?
more so. And I mean, that was something I was
Wow.
pretty good at before,
Yeah, but
which
that's
not a good thing, but
fascinating.
yes, yes. So I, you know, that triggered a lot of stuff within me, both professionally, personally, so much. And then 2021, I had my first medical leave. I went through a period of intense burnout, and I kind of just collapsed one day and, you know, had to step away from work to just try and get back on my feet.
Yeah.
So, so I had
And
sorry,
sorry,
go ahead.
can you explain to people the layers of what you were experiencing in burnout? Because I feel like so many women now are doing everything and
It
not
was,
realizing how burnt out they are.
that was exactly, and it really was exactly like that, where I didn't even realize it was burnout.
Yeah.
It was, you know, I was trying to do all the things, you know, for kids, for around the house, at work, all the things. And again, I really was just totally dissociated and numb. But some of the things that were, you know, clues were, I mean, I couldn't get out of, I struggled to get out of bed in the morning. I could not, I wouldn't want to shower. And then I would step in the shower and I couldn't get out of the shower. And, you know, it just, everything took like four times the energy to do. And it was so heavy. You know, the anxiety became really almost crippling in that I constantly worried about everything, and then panic would creep in. I would have a panic attack and then have to just shut it down and like step into a meeting because I had to. I had to, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and eventually all of it just became too heavy.
Yeah.
And there was, I remember it so clearly. One morning I like literally just bent over, keeled over in my kitchen, hyperventilating and just crying and thinking like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
Yes.
And
And it
stepped
becomes
away, and yeah,
clear.
it was clear. It was, at
Yeah.
least in the moment. I could, you know, and I
Yes.
didn't even know the depths of the things that I couldn't do anymore. It was still just one layer for me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was almost like another impetus where like a lot of things changed for me after that. I became aware of a lot more things, about myself, and there was self-awareness and discovery, and a lot of self-acceptance and compassion that I never had before shifted for me in that
That's
period of time.
amazing because
Yeah,
that's so hard to connect to those aspects. It's really
it
hard
is.
for us to see and understand that.
Yeah. And it was. I mean, it was so hard for me to even begin to connect with those things. And again, um, it was grieving things. It was, and I always say like grieving the you before
Yeah.
is something that I don't think gets talked about enough, because when something shifts for you, you experience a loss, you become aware of something, the version of you that didn't know or didn't experience that is gone forever in like
Yeah.
that sometimes, you know. So that was a big part of it for me too, where it was like, who am I even? I've been masking, I've been performing these roles that I've been told were the right ones for my
Yeah.
entire life. I don't really know who I am underneath all of that.
That's amazing. Now, to help you through that processing, were you accessing counseling? Were you accessing different modalities? How did you explore that? Because I find there's so many things we can explore now and have awareness to kind
Yeah.
of connect it to deeper aspects of ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I mean, yes, I was going to counseling. I was, receiving a lot of support from the people around me. My partner was incredible. Friends were amazing. Um, but when I had left my marriage before this period of time, I had the privilege of seeing a hypnotherapist to help me through that transition, that life transition. And I went through, I can't remember how many sessions with her. I mean, a bunch, right? And it was in such an incredible experience. And it was one of those things that kind of stuck in my mind, but underneath a lot of stuff. It was like, I'm just going to file this away back here, bury it under a bunch of stuff. And then I went through this like arc almost, I went to counseling and then I went back to work. And it was like, okay, I'm going to be, I know how to take care of myself now. This is going to be different. And it was for a little
Yeah.
while, but
Yeah.
I still hadn't, unearthed all the layers, so to speak. And again, still was kind of continuing along this healing journey with little micro moments of learning and awareness and healing along the way. And then in 2023 I had another significant catalyst. So it's like there's these like almost um, marked events that really were the big things that pushed me that much further ahead. And it's interesting, 2018, 2020,
Yeah.
like every year or two, there was like another huge event in my life. And in 2023, I was in a serious skiing accident. And I had to be carted down the mountain by ski patrol.
Oh no.
And I know, and like I say, I had to ride in the bed of shame, like down the mountain. They have those like the little cots that get towed behind their their sleds.
Kind of shame. That's incredible. The whoopsie. Look at me. Oh my God. I love
Oh,
that.
yeah, it was quite something. And so
Wow.
I
Hey.
had, yeah, I had torn apart my knee. And in an instant, it's like I had lost all of the things that I had been doing that were coping mechanisms.
Mm,
And I say coping mechanisms, not self-care, because they
yes.
were like really things that I was doing to dissociate further from all the pain that was there.
Now I'm curious, was
Yeah.
that your left or right knee?
Left.
That's your past energy.
Yes. So
That's
it's like there
fascinating.
was a severing of that,
Yeah.
because I severed my ACL. And so yes, I now knowing what I know now, I look at that and I'm like,
That's
like, wow.
incredible. So,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
people not knowing it, our body will tell us a
yeah,
lot of different things. So, if you're getting, back pains or SI joints or knees or hips,
yeah.
it very much is telling a story and has an
Yes,
energetical connection to it. So, for your knee, that
always.
would be walking backwards and moving you and accelerating you forwards in the energetics. So, what an
Exactly.
incredible gift.
It was. It was again, it was a gift at the
Yeah.
time. I didn't see it that way because
Right?
I'm just in this place of struggle and I'm like, oh my God, I can barely walk, let
Yeah.
alone run or do yoga or like I mean I had nothing. Everything was kind of stripped away and it was
Yeah.
100% a gift when I look at it in hindsight because that then was truly the thing that
Yeah.
made me stop and go, things are
No more.
things are not working here, and
Yeah.
when everything had been stripped away, all of those things that I was doing to try and take care of myself, but really ignore everything, just keep myself so busy that I wasn't even
Right? It's like the
aware.
energy is going internally, physically,
Yeah,
mentally, and the to-dos keep cycling, and they literally have to halt you and
yeah.
force you into solitude and force you into a place of gratitude and recognizing the blessings you do have.
That was exactly it. That was exactly it. It stripped me away to absolutely like nothing.
Wow.
And and I continued to work for about 6 months after the injury, and then again I went through during that whole period. Of course, I've got no coping mechanisms. I am in a job that I really dislike, that doesn't it's not aligned with who I am. It's pushing up against my values. My boundaries are being compromised, and I'm miserable, and I'm getting more and more miserable every day. And now here you go, you can't even walk, let
Yeah.
alone do any of the things that you were doing to dissociate from all that misery, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was something. And so I went through another period of intense burnout where, again, it was just like I can't do this anymore. And the scariest thing was it was at that point that a lot of like I started having thoughts of, you know what, maybe I should just would it be such a bad thing if I got into like a car accident on the way to work? And
Oh,
when those thoughts start to creep in of I don't want to be here anymore, I just want escape no matter what it looks like. um
yes.
that's scary too,
Yes.
yeah, because
And
it's like that is not who I am.
well,
That's not
and
me.
people need to know it's a natural component of really recognizing what we're doing is not working
Yes,
because we're meant
exactly.
to be here, we're meant to enjoy it, and when we're
Yeah,
at the point of, I don't want to be here,
yeah,
it
exactly. Yeah.
it's asking for help too in that.
It's screaming. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And something that I say in my work now all the time is that the nervous system whispers before it screams. And I had
Yeah.
ignored all of the whispers all along the way. And not, I mean, I just didn't know any better,
Yeah.
and then it was screaming at me,
Yeah.
like something's got to give, something has to stop. I had surgery on my knee. And it was really during that period of time that it was like, okay, I've left this marriage. So much of who I was has been shed, but I'm still in this job, in this career that it just does not feel right. Like, but so much questioning around that happening at the same time because it's like I'd spent 20 years building this career, building this persona, this who I was. And then that discovery of this is not who I am
Yeah.
was profound and
Yeah.
devastating. And it's
Yeah.
just like, where do I go from here? I don't even know what to do. I don't know where to go. If I don't do that, I can't go back to that. But if I
Yeah.
don't do that, what do I do? You know,
Yeah.
um, here I am now in my 40s, and now what? Now what do I do? Like, I can't go back
Yes.
to school. I can't do this. I can't do that. All of that can't, shouldn't thinking.
Right? People
Yeah,
get really, they really
stuck.
stop on the
Yeah.
40s, like I'm almost to retirement. And I'm like, but you're
It's
still
like
like going through
young.
time. So why not do something that's going to be enjoyable and have a positive outcome?
Exactly. And that's where I came eventually, where it was
Yeah.
like, okay, no, hold on. My life is not over. Like at
Yeah.
42 years old, 44 years old. Like I am just starting.
Yeah.
And exactly, I cannot stay miserable for another 20, 30 years. Like I need to change. And I was kind of lost and I was adrift. And before I went into the corporate world as an accountant, I studied psychology and I loved it. And I thought, okay, I can go back to like that feels right to me. I'd always wanted to just help people. The favorite parts of my job were the times where I was just working with my team, and I was coaching. We were solving problems together, like just that human connection and helping each other through life and through this work environment. And so it was those things that really said, okay, I need to be doing something in the helping field, because that feels right. That is who I am. I've been pretending to be something I'm not, and finally that misalignment has caught up with me, and I need to go back to do something. And I didn't remember that hypnotherapist that I saw right away. I kind of was just like, what do I
Mm.
do? And you just go through the looking at different courses I could take, and almost by chance, I was on a website of a wellness clinic here locally in the city, and just looking at some of the I was looking to book a massage or something. I can't remember what it was now, but I just happened to kind of be looking through their website and seeing what kind of practitioners they had and modalities they had there available. And I found one of the practitioners at that clinic was a hypnotherapist. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And it was like this switch went in my brain, and it was like, that's it. And I
That's
remembered
amazing.
the experience I had, and it was just like, no, that was that is it.
Now,
That is
for people, I always remind people, destiny hits you like a wall. Like,
it. Yes.
right? Like it is
Yes.
something you cannot ignore. You
No.
cannot look, there is no wavering in the energy.
Mm-mm.
It is ignited and it is strong. So did you
It
have that
is.
full embodiment moment?
I did. You describing it perfectly. It was like I say, I read those words,
Yeah.
and in an instant, it was like this rush went through me of like, yes. It
Mm.
was all yes, like with my entire being. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. It was
Yeah.
just like this all like entire body, mind, spirit, everything, knowing all at once, this is your path.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do, you
And
know?
the energy
Yes,
shows up and it flows like
yes.
it is, you could go days doing it.
Oh, exactly. And that's what it
Yeah.
was like. I mean, I went through all the motions. I'm looking at schools and
Yeah.
settled on one, and I'm going, it was just like I say, all of a sudden it was just like full steam ahead, and that was exactly it. Like I started this course, and I looked through the assigned reading list, and I was like, I've already read half of these books for fun because this is a subject that's always interested me.
Right? Isn't that interesting too? Because you look back and the
Yeah,
curiosity and interest has always presented
always
itself
there.
through your life.
Yes, always. I've always gravitated towards like wanting to learn about the brain and wanting to learn
Mm.
about psychology and how we tick, and how memories work and how we make decisions, and like all of like I've always just found that so intriguing. And yeah, so it was just like right away, instant, yes, this is meant to be. 100%.
I
Yes. So that's how
love
it's
that.
the long and twisty tale of how I
Right?
came to be doing what I'm doing.
But
Yeah,
that's incredible because I feel like people don't understand it until they've experienced it. It's like
yeah.
when you meet your partner, every fiber
Yeah,
of your being is like, wow,
this is
this is
right.
it, right? And
Yes,
then your
exactly.
career, your destiny, your passion, who you're meant to be, it's like
Yes.
everything is nice. There's either yes or there's no. There's no in between.
Yes. Exactly. That's exactly it. And
Yeah.
it was all yes. It was just
Yeah.
like yes. And it really was the same energy. And I describe it as when I met my current partner. It was just
Yeah.
exactly, it was just this like, yes, this is a yes, a wholehearted yes.
I
You know?
love
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
tell me about your journey exploring and stepping into that because that is a powerful field. That is like the amount of information you get to hold space with is so incredible. Seeing people's depths and their subconscious and holding space with them. Let me know what that's like for you now because that's
It's
incredible.
It is incredible. It's incredible. It brings me fulfillment and joy every single day. And I say it all the time, but I just feel so grateful and
Mm,
blessed that I get to, like I said, walk alongside people who are going through a lot of the same shifts and changes and struggles that I went through along the year through the years.
yeah.
And so to be where I am in my journey, and be able to sit beside people and walk alongside them who are going through, like I say, a lot of what I went through. And everyone's journey is different, even though some of the things they're experiencing might be similar.
Yeah.
They're experiencing them differently because that's how life is.
Yeah.
So I learn so much from people every day, and it's profound. Sitting down with someone and guiding them to making a connection between like their subconscious and their conscious mind. And you can almost see those yes moments when they come, to the end of a session.
Yeah.
And, there's like a palpable change
Yeah.
from the start of a session to the end of a session when that switch has been flipped for them, you
I
know.
find when clarity and integration ignite in
Yeah.
somebody, it's they can never go backwards again from that
Mm-mm.
moment. It's like they see it as it is and they move forward with purpose.
That's exactly, and I see that in my work every
Wow.
single day, and it's incredible. It is incredible what people are capable of. Because, and again, like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I am just there to walk beside someone to guide them on their journey, be a light along the way, and they're the ones who are making the connections and going through that change and learning things about themselves the first time. They're the ones doing all of that because, and the most beautiful thing is seeing people realize that they can do that,
Mm, I
you know.
love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, do you find that you have commonalities in people coming to you now? Because I find that there's usually like a three category kind of challenge bucket I find people are up against these days. What do you find is a common theme that people are really trying to either understand or transform within themselves?
Oh, that is such a good question. And what I see the most, I would say, is um, people who have lost, excuse me, who've lost themselves
Yeah.
amongst the noise of the world. They've, like me, made decisions maybe along through, and like so many of us throughout their lives that have landed them in a place where they're going, what, how the hell did I get here? and
Yes.
um, and that really is the theme of a lot of what I see in my practice is people who are just kind of lost and
Yeah.
going like something is off and I don't even know what it is, and so that returning to themselves, people
Mm,
who've lost themselves and are really seeking to return, even though they may not put it in those words, but that's what it is underneath it all.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's beautiful. Do you
yeah.
find that you have steps or things that kind of come forward for people to redefine or connect to pieces of themselves? Because for me, it's play. We have to find some kind of flow activity and some kind of play component to bring joy back into us because we've disconnected
100%.
so much.
That's joy is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, between sessions, I give people what I like to call thinking homework because
Yeah.
I'm not going to send you away to like do anything because I mean, as an ADHD adult
Yeah.
woman, like I can't do that. There's no way. But I mean, if I can just, send people away with like, just think about this or just,
Yeah.
consider this or consider incorporating this. And one of the biggest things that I give people to work on or think about in between sessions is connect with your inner child because
Mm,
oftentimes that's where the joy is.
yeah.
And a huge part of reconnecting back with who we are is reigniting the wonder of that inner
Mm,
child, you know, and
yes.
finding those things of places of joy.
Yeah.
You know, so I was just connecting with that inner child is huge. Um, and the other thing is, you know, talking to yourself positively. That's another huge
Mm,
thing that I see where so many people and you know, I was one of them and still am sometimes, because let's
yeah.
be real, you know, we all have those moments of like, oh
Yes.
my God, I can't do this, you know. But what I say the most often is just, you know, recognize what you're doing in a day and tell yourself, wow, I did that really well. You
Mm.
know, just start to shift that inner narrative to, you know, God, I did such a horrible job in that meeting, to no, you know what, like I felt unsure and I did it anyway. That's amazing.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Turning it, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, yeah.
And I find too, if people knew what our thoughts were, like if there was a billboard and
Oh
these
my
thoughts,
God, right?
right? Like
Yeah,
the reason we are so hard on ourselves is
yeah,
because we're able to disguise it in so many different ways. But if we were all
exactly.
able to access it, we would really have to look at that within ourselves. And I think people really put that off when that should be step one,
100% completely agree, you know,
right?
and yes, no question,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah. Um,
absolutely.
this is beautiful. And what I really loved about what we were talking about when we connected is that you are diving into supporting people with their nervous systems too. This is
Yeah.
something I have really started stepping into since the end of November because I was realizing no matter, like, I meditate for a living. And I was finding my legs were tight and my hands are tight. And I'm like, wow, my neurology is not aligned to
Right?
what I am trying to strive and achieve for. And I've been looking at that. And I
Yes.
want to know what you can
Yes.
share with us about that because that's so huge.
It is huge. And like you say, the nervous system whispers before it
Yeah.
screams. And those tight legs and, you know, balled up fists and the
Jaw.
jaw tension, yes. Those are all whispers, you
Yeah.
know, and sometimes the whispers might look like coping, like they did for me. Sometimes the whispers might be you're trying to control something, anything in your life,
Yeah.
or, you know, through restrictive eating or rigid exercise, or even just being overly maybe disciplined about your life, too rigid,
Yeah.
or maybe it's the other way. Maybe it's like you've let everything go and you're just kind of flailing in the middle,
I'm
which is
flailing
very
these days.
clear.
I am flailing.
Yeah.
I'm like just about to the surrender journey, and I've done the control and the overworking
Me
component. So
too. Yeah.
I'm in the in
I'm in
between
the
right now.
flail. I just flail. That's me too. And
It's
honestly,
a great place. It's a
it
great
is a
place.
great
I know
place.
I'll land at some point, but
It is a surrender to that almost, you know?
the vulnerability we hold. I tell you what, you cannot hold falsity to this face, okay?
No, right? Exactly. It's awesome.
Oh my God, that's incredible. So when did
Yeah.
you really start incorporating that for yourself and seeing the benefits of it? Because it is so transformational.
It really is transformational. And um, early in, I think it was around about the time of my first leave of absence from work in 2021. And I worked with a wonderful practitioner who put nervous system regulation at the forefront of every single thing that she did with her
Wow.
clients. And so I went through this program with her. It's called the Safe and Sound Protocol. And it's actually a modality I use in my own practice now because I found it to be so transformational for me.
Yeah.
It was really the first point in my life that I even became aware I had a nervous system and that it was dysregulated.
I feel like these foundational pieces are so overlooked within us.
Yes, well, because exactly. I mean, so many of us, we grew up not even really recognizing when we were dysregulated,
Yeah.
because everyone around us was, and it was like, well, that's just people, and it's like, no, That's not how we're meant to exist.
Oh my gosh. And it's funny too when you've been in a survival mechanism for so long.
Yeah.
For example, I have PTSD from a lot of
Yeah.
trauma in my life, and
Me as well. Yeah.
I went through a light therapy with David Ellis. He gave me this
Okay.
cool
Yeah.
PDF mat and this
Oh,
neurology
awesome.
thing, right?
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I had gone in public to a grocery store and not been aware of every individual and where every door was and watching with every movement who was moving around me. And in that
Yeah.
moment, I just kind of froze because I was like, wow, I intook that my whole life.
Isn't that interesting? Yes, that's exactly it. Because sometimes we don't know that we're dysregulated until we're regulated,
Yes.
you know, because it's just for so long it was normal,
Yep.
for your entire life it was just normal that you were had that hyper vigilant tendency to, have that, or however many years, and
Yeah.
it's like it becomes so normal to
Yeah.
us that we don't realize the toll it's taking on our bodies. Because that's sort of what ultimately ends up happening when we're in that fight or flight survival state for that many years, for so long.
Yeah.
What happens internally from a physiological perspective is our nervous system starts taking certain functions offline, if you
Yeah.
will, because it is focused purely on survival. And in order to be vigilant about, who's around me and where are the exits and what is that sound, there's other functions in our body that have to shut down. And
Yes.
that is then what can cause, chronic illness, chronic pain, all kinds of issues. And so many people don't even make the connection between what they're experiencing on a physiological level and what they're experiencing on a emotional, psychological, spiritual, energetic level. But all of those systems are connected, and I truly believe it all starts with the nervous system, because that is what rules us at the end of the day. And you know
That's
um
amazing.
yeah, and like I say, we just don't even know that we're dysregulated sometimes until we have that eye-opening moment of like, wait a minute, I'm not, like, I don't have my shoulders up here all the time
Yeah.
anymore. Or,
Yeah.
like, sometimes what I see in my practice too is people have clenched and tensed their muscles for so long that, when people have a hypnotherapy session and they're so relaxed,
Yeah.
sometimes it can cause some discomfort when they come out of that sort of that state, because it's like they've been tense for so long they don't know what it feels like to be relaxed.
Well, and the body's in shock.
The body's in shock. Exactly.
It
That's
doesn't know
exactly
how
it.
to function. It's like, what is this state?
Yeah,
Everything's presenting itself that I've ignored for so long,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And so, one of the very first things that I always do with people is like a little mapping exercise of even trying to understand their nervous system states,
Wow.
and because that first piece is knowing, is learning about it, and that piece is huge. That piece is
That's
huge.
incredible. So, do you teach anything with that? Do people access you one on one to get support with the nervous system?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I like I say, I offer the safe and sound protocol. That's, people can find me through my website, and I do one-on-one sessions. And then I incorporate that with my clinical hypnotherapy practice as well. So not everybody needs nervous system regulation right off the
Yeah.
bat. Some people already are familiar with it, have done a lot of work with it. So I give people options of, do you need, what do you need right now? Do you need to heal your subconscious? Do you need to overcome limiting beliefs? Are you struggling with nightmares? What's happening with you? So that's always the first step, is like, let's just talk and find out what's happening, what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
And then we can explore from there what might be the most beneficial for you in terms of modalities through me. And so yeah, there I do one-on-one sessions. I am working on some group sessions right now, and I'm hoping to get them offered in the new year, because that it makes it so much more accessible for so many more people.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on some group safe and sound sessions. I'm also working on some group hypnotherapy sessions that are more focused on stress management and that sort of thing, to just help people get through, to
Oh,
relax and get through, and maybe start that healing journey.
I love that. I love that. And you told me some exciting news too about like what's coming up. Can you share with everybody for that?
Yeah, so the most exciting piece is my sister, my partner, and her partner have just purchased an old building, and we are looking to open up our own wellness space. And yes, so that we as practitioners can use it, but to also open it up to the community and other practitioners who maybe need space to work with their clients. And so we are going to be working on getting that up and running, and renovated and organized, and hope to have it running by spring-ish, give or
Wow.
take.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so exciting. It's sort of been like
Oh,
a dream come true. It's something for years that my sister and my partner and I, and like all of us, have just been like, oh, this is the dream. If we
yeah.
could do this, is like open up a retreat center or a wellness center, or just something to, create more space for people to kind of and feel safe.
Oh, I'm so happy for you guys. That is such an exciting thing to have a
Thank
part of the
you.
community. And with
Thank you.
everybody
Yeah.
that will kind of connect to you through the event too, will be able to access
Yes.
that. So that'll be even more exciting.
Absolutely. So excited for everything that's
Oh,
coming up. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, how does everybody access you? They have you on your website and you are on social media as well, right?
I am. Yes, I am. So my Instagram is at Michelle Bogdasavich. They can find me there. My website is michellebogdasavich.ca.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. And those are the primary ways people can get in touch with me. And yeah,
That's amazing. Now, I
yeah.
want to check too, with the aspect of grief. I want to know what grief has really kind of ignited or taught you about yourself.
Oh, that's huge, because I mean, it taught me so many things.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest, most transformational thing that it taught me was um, my definition of strength.
Yeah.
Because before I went through this transformational process, I was that hyper independent, strong, I don't need anyone or anything. I can do everything by myself. I don't feel emotions. Because, like that was me, that, over almost hyper functioning,
Yeah.
pushing everything down, go, 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 busy. And I, for most of my life, really thought that that was strength, that, letting things not bother you was strength. And what I realized after going through everything is that self abandonment,
Mm,
that suppression. And true strength is letting those emotions come as you can. And for me, anyway, that's what strength to
yes.
me looks like. It's going to look different for every single person,
Yeah.
but for me, strength now looks like self-compassion, self-awareness,
Yeah.
letting the feelings come and moving through them,
Mm,
and coming out then the other side okay, because I
yes.
now have the tools and support around me to help ride those waves, you
And
know.
isn't it interesting too? You can't really have strength without vulnerability.
That's exactly it, you know. And before I wasn't vulnerable. I was
Yeah.
completely closed off to everyone and everything, including myself. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until I let all those walls down and collapsed and everything else burned away that those were my strongest moments, you
That's
know.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible, Michelle. Now,
Thank
what is
you.
the hardest or most challenging aspect of grief for you? Was it connecting to vulnerability? What do you think was like the defining thing of like, wow, I made it through that?
Yeah, well, that definitely that connecting with my vulnerability, which was incredibly hard. And I have to give a shout out to my wonderful partner. His name is Rob, and he
Oh,
held my hand and stood beside me while I discovered that about myself. And he was so patient while I figured that out. And he really was one of the very first people in my adult life to just hold space for me and let me figure things out. And but so letting those walls down and actually admitting I can't do this by myself,
yeah,
you know, was so, that was the thing that took me the longest. That was
yeah.
so hard and one of the last things for me to let go.
Wow. I
Yeah,
love that you had support, but not only just support, but unconditional love. Because I find in these overhauls, we are met with judgment and conditional love through the entire experience.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I did experience a lot of that elsewhere. And
Mm,
that's what makes me so grateful that I had a place, I had a safe
yeah.
place to be able to just cry and collapse
Mm,
and let the walls down, and someone who would just like sit beside me and not try to fix me or not try to give me advice,
yeah.
because I think we see that a lot too when we're in an emotional space, is it's really hard for other people to sit with that and just hold space with that without trying to do something.
Yeah. Or
You know,
speak on everything.
yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just don't need that. Sometimes we just literally need to sit there and feel and have someone sit beside us.
Yeah. And just receive it with just holding a
Which
space.
exactly. Yes, exactly. That's exact. And that is really inspired me to do what I do in my day-to-day
Mm,
work now, is to just hold space and let people feel seen and supported and safe. Because that is such a huge thing.
that's
Such a huge thing,
incredible. That's
you know? Yeah,
incredible. And do you
yeah.
find that everybody that comes to you is dealing with grief in not aware of it?
In some way,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. There's some component of grief to what they're experiencing. Because I think there's any transition in life comes with grief.
Yeah.
Um, you know, whether, like I say, whether it's a loss, whether it's a diagnosis, whether it's, you know, a life transition, you know, a
Yeah.
divorce, uh, any of those things. Where there's change, there's loss, and where there's loss, there's grief, and that is life, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that. I love
yeah.
that. Michelle, I have to thank you so much for holding space with me. I know we're probably
Thank
going to have
you.
more conversations in the
Oh, I
future, right?
know. Yes, I'm already chomping at the bit to, you know, continue. It's so, thank you so much for holding space for
Oh,
me and giving me a chance to tell my story and connect with people. And yeah, I'm so grateful. I wish we'd met like years ago, but we
I
met at the time
know.
that we needed to meet. So,
Right? I love that I'm meeting all these incredible people after I've left too. I was like, where
right?
have they
I
been?
know it's not fair.
Well, my heart is full. Thank you so much. And
Thank
Grief
you.
Connection, I'm going to share all the information about Michelle below so that you can access her. Please leave a comment of gratitude and support and press like on this. But at the end of the day, take care of your heart and soul. Michelle, thank you for sharing yours with us.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Oh,
Yeah.
take care, you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.